Animal Connections, learning to speak the amazing language of animals with your host, André Shirley.
I was asked to put the series together and wondered how to do it. After a long think about it, I decided the first step is to introduce what it's all about by briefly telling you about my journey. Here I am, just an everyday person, like most, with normal run-of-the-mill everyday accomplishments and capabilities. I thought anyway. Turns out I knew nothing. All I was doing was interpreting their body language and behavior. This of course works up to a point, but it is not by far the whole picture. My journey started when I saw a program on TV about Amelia Kincaid teaching a group of people how to talk with their pets. I remember there was one incident where Amelia was asking a cat questions. One question was if anything bothered the cat. Cat said yes, she hated being locked up in a small space all day. The owner said no, she never locks her cat up in small spaces. The thing that made me believe the cat over the human was the utter disgusted look the cat gave human. Even I could see that this dialogue was probably in the line of, "You are lying, human." The human did confess that she locked the cat up in the bedroom when she went to work each day. Right there, I decided I wanted to learn this skill. I looked up Amelia, but she was based in America, while I was in South Africa. On her website, though, she had links to people she had trained, and one was in South Africa. This was Winter Warstorn. My guides obviously thought I needed to do this pronto, because as it happened, Winter was doing a course in Swaziland, very close to where I live. I told my husband Don that this was what I was going to do, and to my surprise and delight, he said he'd join me. Off we went on this exciting venture with some photos of both live and deceased pets as requested by the coordinator. We did not know what to expect. It was a small group of about 8 people and an informal setting, hosted by one of the students. A few animals were also invited, mainly pets of those that lived close by. These and the photos were our practice tools. It was a 2-day course and started off with a light meditation each day. A calm, empty mind was a prerequisite before trying to talk with animals. Then Winter would ask a specific animal an easy question, one that the owner could easily verify. Like for instance, where do you sleep at night? Or what is the color of your food bowl? Such things. We would tune in and try to get the answer from the animal. Some people see a flash of an image, some hear words, others smell things. Each person interprets what they get differently, and it does not matter how you get the answer, just that you get it. I usually see an image or a movie-like clip. We practiced this on the live animals, and then moved on to photos of still live animals. There's no need to actually have the animal in front of you when you're communicating. It can be a remote thing too. Distance is not an issue. One can be 10 meters, 10 miles, or on the other side of the planet. We would swap photos in the group, and the pet's owners would tell us to ask specific questions which they could easily verify. We looked at the photo, asked the question, and get our answers. Then we would confirm what we got with the owner. I would say about 90% of the time we were correct, and this is only on day 1 of the course. If incorrect, it usually was because we as humans overthought the answer or did not trust the first thing that jumped out at us. One of the questions I told the person to ask my dog Zenon was, "Where do you sleep?" In my mind, there were 3 possible correct answers. On the big leopard print cushion in the lounge, or the red cushion in the bedroom, or the carpet in the office. This was because she would follow me and lie down wherever I was at that time. But the answer she gave the person was, where my human is. So simple and yet very true. Another question posed to my other dog Shek was, how do you like to play? The answer came straight back correctly, but the person had some trouble understanding. Shek told her he loved playing with a hosepipe. I would open the water, make circles and patterns with the water, and Shek would try and catch the water. The person receiving this information explained it to us that he saw the dog running after something and biting it all the time. He just could not see exactly what in his mind. But he was spot on. We also practiced with already passed over pets, and it was just as easy as with live pets. It's all about energy. You tap into the energy of that being, and that energy can send you images, words, video clips, or smells back. It seems that each person gets exactly the type of energy back that they can interpret. If you are autistic, for example, then it might be images. Deceased animals' energy is still very much around, and one can still tap into it. The biggest trick is to still your mind to be able to receive the energy. And trust what you get. Don't double guess it. As a human, one must interpret the image one gets back from the animal, and one must try to keep human perspectives out of the picture, as it might warp the answer too. For instance, a cat on ground level has a much different eye view than a 6-foot human. To them, a few small trees or shrubs would mean a forest, whereas to us it's but a few baby trees. In later years, I found that I needed to keep well away from agitated owners because I would pick up their energy, and it would block my ability to speak easily to the pet. Or worse, I could pass the agitation onto the pet and make whatever we're trying to achieve worse. So if I had a request to chat with a pet, I would ask for a photo and talk to the animal separate from the human, and then report back to the human later. I have had a lot of success in finding lost pets. Also, a lot of them were never found. Cats are probably the best. They are clearly more advanced and could show me through their eyes where they were. I could describe the area to the human, and they could go look at places like my description to see if they could find their pet. The thing about this is that lost pets move on, so sometimes a pet is gone when the owner finds a spot. So I tried to tell the pet to stay there. This only worked if the human was willing to get out there quickly. Sadly, some humans wail and cry but never actively get involved. Other times, the pets would tell me there's no ways he or she was going back to that owner because it was not a nice place. There were times when the pet was found months later in a place I described. I would also ask the animal to surrender to a caring human who would find the owner, and tell the owner to make sure there are notices everywhere about the lost pet. It takes cooperation from both sides, and I believe some help from spiritual guides as well. Domesticated animals are easier to talk to than wild animals, because pets are already picking up what their owners are about and can relate. Just think back a bit. If you perhaps try to give your pet a pill or a bath, once you've thought that thought, it's over. The pet has realized already and is nowhere to be found. On the emotional side, if there is something wrong with your pet, your emotions are likely to interfere with what you're trying to pick up from your beloved pet. It takes practice to disassociate your emotions to get a clear reading. I found wild animals trickier in the beginning. What does one talk about, for instance? How's the weather? What have you done today? There's also the hive mentality. Wild animals are usually in herds, swarms, colonies, etc. So you're not talking to an individual, but a colony. For instance, I have a small man-made brook in my garden. It needs cleaning up from time to time, otherwise the water will stagnate. But there's a patch where the bees come to drink water and they get aggressive if anyone messes with their water source. I found out the hard way. The next time I attempted to clean that part, I first spoke to them and explained that all I was trying to do is clean the water and why I needed to do it. It was for their own good that I keep it fresh, otherwise their source would go bad. If I do that, no problem. They let me do my thing while they kept on coming in for their drinking water right next to me. Everybody was happy. Even ants. They are also tiny little beings and one can also talk to them. If, for instance, you have a problem with a string of ants marching through the house looking for food, there are choices before putting poisons out. Like, talk to them and warn them that if they continue, there would be consequences. Also offer them food on the outside before they get into the house. If you put food out, they have no need to come stomping through the house. I have asked a sink full of ants to please vacate, otherwise they would be washed down the drain. Then I left the sink for an hour or so, and when I returned, they were all gone. One can live in harmony with other creatures. Horses are the best. They are sentient beings, and a human can learn so much by just being close to a horse. They have the most calming effect when you are around them. We inherited 4 rescue horses with all sorts of problems, brought on by not very nice humans. Destiny, for instance, hated all men with a passion. If a man got near her, she would lash out by either kicking or biting. We had to sort out this man issue before someone got seriously hurt. Destiny and I had a talk, and I explained to her that any man in my vicinity was here on my invitation and were not here to cause her harm. She should remember this, as we could not have men getting hurt here. There would be consequences. Since our talk, she became Don's best friend and was totally relaxed near any man. And there are a lot of men in and out of our property. Animals are in the now. They do not dwell on past issues. So if a human asks me to find out about their pet's life before they had them and it's too painful for the pet to bring it back up, I respect that. There's no need to bring up old hurts. They have a sense of humor as well. I did a communication with a horse as per the owner's request and got a lot of answers back. I related these answers to the human, but it turns out that the horse in the stable next door interfered and answered all the questions, and both horses had a good giggle. It's a very emotional time if your pet is lost or went walkabout. To help with this, Winter wrote a book, Where is Biggles? It outlines practical steps on how to send out positive vibrations to lead your pet back home. As a pet owner, this is a very good book, as it teaches you how to communicate and resolve the problem. There are a few examples from other communicators in the book as well, and they offer methods that work for them. I really recommend this book. This course taught me so many things. It was the start of a long journey in understanding the energetic world and opening my eyes to discover more. It is something anyone can learn how to do. There are many good teachers out there, and the aim of this series is to talk to some of them during the next few months. If this is something you want to do, get in touch, and I will refer you to my mentor, Winter. She offers online and in-person courses. Classes are also all over the world and can be arranged in your area if you can get a nice group together. Once you've done a course, I suggest plenty of practice. Of course, the more you practice, the better you become.
You've been listening to Animal Connections with host André Shirley. To connect with André or to check out our other shows, head to lifesource.global. And don't forget to hit the like, subscribe and share buttons. This show is brought to you by Sourcelight Productions.